Welcome back everyone, this is MandoAllDay, back with another video. And in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Kalibak. This is the megafig and the Darkseid War storyline. I'll be talking about the figure itself in terms of the articulation, sculpture, and paint, and if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at the box, which is a pretty darn big box. This side, the back, which I really like this art piece. The other side, and I can pick it up. Top is a huge box, and of course bottom. All right, now let's take a look at this megafig outside the box. As always, you do come with a card. So the front of the card looks like. The back of the card. Now, something that I noticed with the new cards of McFarlane, they're a lot thinner. I noticed that right away. I don't know if anyone else talked about it, but these cards feel a lot thinner. I know like the first wave of McFarlane ones, they were a lot thicker. And there was another wave where they kind of strengthened down like half size. But these feel a lot thinner. Maybe it's just me though. But leave it in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's just me. But these new figures, they come thinner. Is that a bad thing or anything? Something that I noticed right away as soon as I took it out of the box. But anyways, there's the card. It comes with this weapon on here, which I like. It's kind of like a gel-like plastic. It makes sense. Very bendable. I don't know what you want to call it, but you got some detail on here. You got little spikes on here. You got the grip handle, and I like the color on here, like that bronze color look to it, which I like. I think it looks really cool. And of course, it comes with a regular stand. Now let's take a look at Mr. Kalibak, and I gotta say right away, the head sculpture just looks fantastic. Just look at that grin on his face, the eyes. They're not painted white eyes, they're painted yellow, which looks kind of weird, but it looks so good. You got that hair on here, that beard, that long hair, pointy ear. Just looks top notch, man. I really dig this head sculpture. McFarlane nailed the look of this figure. It looks fantastic. Or this character, I should say. Just looks menacing. That teeth, the painted lips. You got here on the nose, on here, the piercing. Just looks vicious and screamy like, oh, that is awesome. Head articulation is good, left and right, up, down. Not the greatest, but left and right is good. But the highlight is going to be that head sculpture. Just looks top notch. You got the little design on here too, which I want to call it a mask, but I don't think so. Nor a helmet because when it's covering his face, but nonetheless, man, this is just fantastic. You got that dark brown with black with the light brown on here too. On the hair, you got the hair kind of swishing over here to the side. It just looks amazing, man. McFarlane nailed this head sculpture. So overall, head articulation, left to right is good. Up, down is limited. The sculpture design and paint, it is just top notch, man. I really dig this head sculpture. Fantastic job of McFarlane. Let's take a look at the arm articulation. They do articulate. There you go. That's that side. This side, it does articulate. There is no bicep, unfortunately, but there is elbow, so elbow articulation. And, of course, wrist, which is a little stiff right now, but that's just mine. And do torso articulation. And it's feasible. I mean, for the figure this size, can't go wrong with it. So, overall, though, in terms of the upper body articulation, it's good. Can't complain. Now, let's talk about this armor, because this just looks ridiculously huge, man. This is a big boy. I like the texture on here on the green on his upper body. It makes it have that look like the leather skin, but it's leather look to it, but it's not. You got that nice flat kind of color on there too, like a mustard color if that makes any sense. You got the light green. Then you got more texture design here on the side on the ribs, which I like. Again, makes it look really good. It does pop, and you get a little different color schematic. Excuse me. I really dig it. You got the little piece right here too. Looks amazing. I like how it's very detailed, and I like the color that they used on here. It's like a gold, but a little bit of the glitter kind of gold, if that makes sense. So it really does look good. Here on the shoulder, you got his armor piece, or I don't even want to call it. Very detailed on here too. Each one is detailed, and I like how each one is kind of like its own. It's not just like one piece and just cut. It's just nice and clean. It looks really good. It stands out too. Just looks fantastic. Then you got also the arm detail. Just look at that arm. Look at that. All that skin. You got that bicep right there. Damn, that must have hurt. We got the stitching on there too. On here, it looks like it's stitching. Just look at all of that detail in the arm. Just looks amazing, man. And then you got that glove on here, and then you got the little straps on here too. Looks really good. And the other side, you got a different kind of hand look to it, which I like because it makes it look stylish and it looks just grabs your attention. This has here the same kind of leather look to it, but it's actually not. Then you got more design on here too, on the sculpture design. Then you got some ripped skin right there too. Just top notch, man. Top notch. Now, I will have to ding it for something. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I can already tell people are going to hate me for this. But you know what? I'm going to keep it real. I like the upper body. Don't get me wrong. I really dig it. I think the paint's good. The sculpture design is just top notch, man. Especially the head sculpture. But I have to ding it, though. Because when I picked it up and I took it out the box, my first response was, wow, this feels very similar to Clayface. If you know what I'm talking about, is that Clayface felt a lot hollow. What I mean by that is, I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare this figure with Mongo, and I'm gonna tap it, so you guys can hear what I'm referring to. All right. So first, I'm gonna do Kalibak, so I'm gonna tap now. All right. Here. I'm gonna fall. Then I'm gonna do Mongo. Tapping Mongo. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Maybe the microphone didn't pick it up or not, but it just feels hollow. Like it's very empty. And that's unfortunate because I think the sculpture design is just top notch, but I just felt that right away. As soon as I grabbed it and I started playing with the torso, I just felt that hollowness. Very similar to Clayface, which I'm a bit concerned because that Clayface, it looks cool, it looks weird, but it has a hollow. If you know what I'm talking about, if you have Clayface, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then unfortunately you might not know what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, I have to ding it because it does feel that way. And if I had to describe it, it kind of feels just very thin plastic. And that's unfortunate because I like this figure. The upper body, I mean, so far. Just looks amazing, man. McFarlane did a really good job. It's just that the upper body is where you can feel the thinness of the plastic. Now, I'm a bit concerned, like, what if accidentally I drop it? I feel like it might crack. Man, they could be just me, though. But something that I wanted to bring it up because I know I shouldn't have, because people are going to be talking shit like, wow, I'm only paying $40, you got to cut corner somewhere. I get it, but just, I don't know. That's just me, though. Something that I noticed. Let's take a look at that belt before we talk about the legs. Just look at all that sculpture design. Similar colors on here. Also present on the belt. The belt looks amazing on here, too. Just very, very textured. And again, just stand out, man. Really, really good job of McFarlane on here, too. Talk about the legs. Leg articulation. There's some, not a whole lot on the legs, but can't complain. Ooh, these are very... They do articulate. There you go. Just mine are being a little punk right now. So there is knee articulation. Just mine are very, very stiff. And ankles articulate with toes. Just mine are very, very stiff. So in terms of the leg articulation, it's good. It's present. And you got more of that same kind of like look on here. The glove also present on the legs. A little bit on the thighs as well too. I like how the colors are different. This is like a light green. A lighter green. This is like a more darker green. And you got that same kind of style that's in here. Sorry, here. Also present on here too. And of course his skin, the color of it and the texture of it just look fantastic. Look at that. He does calf raises. Just look at those calves. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. And of course he has thunder thighs, man. Look at those thighs. Fantastic. You got this little texture design on here too. Just looks top notch, man. Top notch. McFarlane nailed this figure perfectly, man. It looks really, really good. Now, what I said in terms of the upper body, I don't really feel it on the lower legs. Because when I went with the Clayface, I felt the thinness of the plastic on the lower legs. This one, I don't feel that. It's just here on the upper torso. So, just keep that in mind, though. Just showing you more of the figure itself, though. Man, fantastic. Fantastic looking figure, man. So, of course, the question is this worth the purchase price? Is this worth the purchase price of $40? Personally, for $40, I gotta say, man, I think this is a fantastic looking figure. The only downside, and as I mentioned already, is just going to be the upper body, the hollowness. Is it something like, oh, you have to be worried about? Not really, but something that I just felt right away. As soon as I took it out the box, I was like, whoa, this is really, really thin plastic. And it reminded me of Clayface, because I like that figure, don't get me wrong, but it just does not... It's just concerning. Like, what if I accidentally drop it or something, you know? But regardless of that, though, is it worth the retail price? $40. My honest opinion, for the price of $40, you get a one cool looking card, which I really like this image of Kalibak. Get an accessory, but the detail in the head sculpture, the upper body, the arms, the just everything about this figure. I think for $40, you're getting a really good looking figure. It is big, pretty big boy. But just keep in mind on in terms of the hollow. The only downside is I wish he was a little bit taller, but then again, Kalibak is not really that tall. But regardless of, I think for $40, you're getting a fantastic looking figure, especially the head sculpture. I'm telling you, this head sculpture, you have to see it in person. When you see it in person, you're gonna be like, holy shit! And look at that. I kid you not, man. This is just fucking awesome, man. This is what I'm talking about. Like, just look at that grin, dude. Just still looks fantastic, man, and everything else too. I think for $40, I think it's a good price for it. It's a fair price, I should say. If you get it for sale, definitely get it. But regardless of the price, so what do I think about the figure? To me, the megafig Kalibak by Todd McFarlane, DC Multiverse, thumbs up for me. Here we have another megafig. It's going to be Mongo and of course Kalibak. They both look really good. I like both figures, and the more I look at Mongo, I'm like, damn. Because this one I said it was not one thing is worth for $40, but the more I look at it, I'm like, dude, for $40, it's actually a really good looking figure. So I'm kind of considering switching my rating from like I think it's not worth 40 to, you know what, I think it's actually worth $40. But there you go, nonetheless. So just showing you in terms of size comparison, and of course standing next to each other, really good looking figures. But if you were to ask me which one I prefer, even though I did criticize this figure, I'm gonna go for Kalibak. Just a head sculpture. I'm telling you, if you see this in person, you know exactly what I'm referring to. But there you go, having Mongo and Kalibak compared. Here we have the gold label Walmart exclusive Eradicator and a regular size figure, and of course Kalibak the Mega Fig. You can really see the height difference. I mean, he looks tiny, just tiny compared to Kalibak, but it's a good looking figure. Just unfortunately, it is a Walmart exclusive, and a lot of people still trying to get this figure. And if you still are, I apologize, man. If I had the power, I wouldn't do exclusive. I would do more common, but hey, I don't have the authority to do that. That's all McFarlane. But nonetheless, so just showing you these two figures side by side, and you guys can see the difference in terms of the height and of course the thickness of it. Here we have Henry Cavill Superman, the Target exclusive figure, and of course Kalibak. Man, that would have been awesome what if Zack Snyder continued with his Justice League story, would include a Darkseid fighting against Superman. Maybe we would have seen Kalibak, but unfortunately that will never exist. Maybe you will one day, I don't know, knock on wood. But nonetheless, so here we have Kalibak and the Superman standing side by side, and you can just see how they look side by side. But more importantly, just look at the size difference, man. Imagine this in a movie. These two fighting each other. Look at the size. That would have been so good. Here we have Lex Luthor, which is probably one of a kind, the best figure of all time. No, I'm just kidding. This is a custom one. That's why I'm saying that. But this is a Lex Luthor with Superman armor, and of course Kalibak, and of course, like I said, this is a custom one that I made. My first custom figure. It's not the greatest, so don't hate me on it too much. But nonetheless, so here we have them both standing side by side, and again, he just looks massive. He referred to Kalibak. He looks ridiculously massive, both in height and, of course, the thickness of him. Here we have another Mega Fig. This is going to be Steppenwolf from the Zack Snyder Justice League wave, and Kalibak. They both look good, but you can really see the thickness of Kalibak. He just looks ridiculously thick. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean, but damn. Just look at the size difference. But here you go, just showing you both side by side in terms of the height and, of course, in terms of the thickness. And I think Steppenwolf was a really underrated figure. I've seen people customize Steppenwolf, and the custom that I've seen is just amazing, man. Some of you the customize just, I don't know how you guys do it, but there you go. Showing you these two side by side. Superman, a comic book version. You have the comic book 1000 of Superman. Obviously, he's back in the picture back there. And, of course, Kalibak. Just look at the size difference. And, man, this was such a good looking figure, man. Good addition. And I'm glad McFarlane made this, because that way, well, he made this figure, of course, but I'm hoping maybe he can continue on making more figures from the Darkseid War. Maybe get another Darkseid figure, or maybe Anti-Monitor. Just saying, I don't know. But There you go. Speaking of Darkseid, here we have Megafig's Darkseid. This is the regular one. I say regular because there's two of them. There is a Target exclusive one that just came fully armored, and that's pretty much the difference. But everything else is the same. And of course, Kalibak, aka his son. This is obviously Darkseid is the father of Kalibak. But anyway, so yeah, remember correctly, yeah, that's correct, right? Darkseid is the father of Kalibak. But whatever though, nonetheless, standing side by side. Unfortunately, though, I like this figure. Don't get me wrong, but when you can't have it standing next to each other, sorry, having them stand next to each other, it looks cool. But come on, when you think of Darkseid and especially the father of Kalibak, you kind of want him to be, let's be real, taller. You know what I mean? Massive. I like this figure. Don't get me wrong, but I just come on, like we need like a super ultra mega fig Darkseid to have him like a lot taller and definitely a lot beefier. But nonetheless, so here we have both of them side by side, father and son. They both look good, but again, just having them like this particular Darkseid mega fig and this Kalibak one, it's cool, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like Darkseid should be taller, thicker, because his father. But nonetheless, though, at least we have this for right now. Of course, I had to bring Joker Titan. I mean, he is so far the king of mega figs for McFarlane in terms of the height. Just look at the difference in height, man. If you think this is tall, definitely a lot taller. Joker Titan. I believe this is the first mega fig by McFarlane, if I remember correctly. And I think he nailed it, but unfortunately having a tough time surpassing this mega fig in terms of the height. But just there you go, just showing you these two. I call it the King Titan because he's still the king in terms of being the height. I mean, from my understanding, he's just the tallest one. I think Swamp Thing is like close, but he's still a little bit taller though. But regardless though, just showing you how Kalibak will look standing next to Joker Titan. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with this figure? Do you plan to purchase this figure? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to the support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. That includes an overview of the Mega Fig Kalibak. This is from the Darkseid War storyline. And on to the next one.